our energy policies are reducing our living standards?
They absolutely are. I mean, the starting point for this conversation is that, and I'm going to get quite passionate about this. This is my my little passion project. But energy isn't just a contributor to the economy. It's not like bread or flour or even water, right? It's not an input. It is the economy. At every single input along the value chain, from whether you dig it up, grow it, manufacture it, process it, transport it, refrigerate it, put it on the shelves and sell it, consume it at home, that requires energy, either fuel or electricity. And so if the cost of energy goes up, the cost of every single input along that value chain goes up, and that means the cost to you as a consumer at the end goes up. And most people, when they think about energy, they think about their power bill, which obviously has been going up. It's gone up 40% in real terms, I think, just in the last 3 or 4 years. But you also have to look at your basket of goods. You also have to look at everything else that you're consuming. Increased power prices are also feeding into that metric as well. There's actually pretty substantial evidence and work that's been done of what is the optimum amount that a country should be spending on energy in order to maximise the output to the economy. And it comes out that anywhere above about 10% energy as a percentage of your GDP, your gross domestic product, once you exceed that, it becomes out of equilibrium, out of balance, and your economy either has to contract or you have to find a way to push power prices down in order to reach new equilibrium. So Australia, we think of the early 2000s, again, when we sort of grew up, when you, Mr. Anderson, were at the reins, Australia's power prices were about 6 to 7% of our GDP across liquid fuels and electricity. In the US at the moment, the US, of course, is continuing to grow. It continues to be the great success story. It's still sitting around that 7-8% of GDP in extracting and using and harnessing energy. Australia's sitting at about 12% at the moment, and it was about 10% in 2019, 2020. So the contraction that we're feeling, that drop in living standards, that per capita recession, the economic pain, be it the business insolvencies, be it our loss of manufacturing, that is the economy contracting and reaching a new equilibrium because we've made power prices too expensive. Now, what does any of that have to do with what you were talking about?
A lot.
Of climate change, right? When we set out to decarbonise our energy system, we basically made the decision that that is the sole constraint with how we would design the grid, build new capacity, create new generation. So that means no new coal-fired power plants because they produce too much carbon emissions. That means you do need some gas as firming, but we can't go too hard on gas because, again, that would produce new emissions. And so we'll just go really hard on renewables because there's no emissions at the point of electricity generation. The problem with renewables is it's not just about producing electricity at any given time. It's about producing that electricity when you want it, and it's about moving that electricity through time and space to get it to the end consumer. So if you have a renewable-based grid, it essentially means that rather than you, the consumer, or you, the generator, deciding when to produce that electricity, the weather decides. So that means you need a very expensive system around that to smooth out demand, be that in gas, be that batteries, whatever it is. You're now building multiple systems on top of each other, lots and lots of machines that only work some of the time. So that's the first part that gets very expensive. But the second part is then moving that through time. So how do you develop a system where you can guarantee that electricity will be there when you want it to match the demand of the consumer, again, when you've got that variability? So these two things have meant our electricity has gone really, really expensive. We're building lots of machines that we only use part of the time because we've focused purely on decarbonisation rather than how to produce the cheapest energy possible. Now, why are we decarbonising? It's because of this anxiety that you were referring to about climate change, which is a global challenge. But Australia is only 1% of global emissions. China is not decarbonising. The US is not decarbonising. India is not decarbonising. Vietnam, Indonesia is not decarbonising. Africa, South America, Russia, the Middle East are not decarbonising. So essentially, we are tackling this global problem, but making our own sovereign, national, local citizens pay the price in higher electricity bills, which means the cost of everything else gets more expensive. So it's actually for something that seems a bit innocuous and it seems like a good thing that we'd want a greener and cleaner system, it's actually causing enormous economic pain and harm to our own citizens for very little practical gain in the great battle against climate change.